Howdy, howdy. We are live on a Friday night with no new episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, but it is a good time to go back and look at all the what we call the Gorn Eggs, the Easter eggs, in-jokes, and continuity connections of Season 1. And I have Joel here with me. Joel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, that is fantastic to hear. We're going to have a good time. I'm wearing my
Ooh.
Gorn to be Wild Gorn shirt that no one can see on camera, but that's okay.
We know it's there. Yeah.
And there's people starting to chat away, so they're probably ready for us to get this show started. I'm Fatheree,
I'm Joel.
and this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 371st installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. And tonight we are talking about the Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1 Easter eggs, in-jokes, and continuity connections. Or as I like to call them, the Gorn Eggs. That's a term that I started using, 6 years ago, Picard Season 1, when some graphic artist added the text Gorn Eggs to a display menu that Raffi was looking at in an early Picard Season 1 episode. I was like, we're going to start calling our Easter egg section of the show the Gorn Eggs section.
Tasty Gorn eggs, yes.
I never really liked calling those things Easter eggs either, because it's like, I don't know. Like some things are like it's not really an Easter egg. It's like a very specific reference that they kind of want you to notice if you know what it's
Yeah.
referring to. So I feel like that's not an Easter. Easter eggs are supposed to be hidden, you know.
Yes, sure.
But we don't need to go down that wormhole and figure out the semantics of how to describe this stuff. Before Joel and I get started on that, though, I just want to do a bit of quick housekeeping per usual. I want to give a big thank you and also an announcement to the Tex-Trek Patreon supporters. But thank you so very much, Sohel, Cake is Eternal, Crazy Dutchy, John Daw, Geek Filter, Quarkspar, Matthew Averett, Braxton, Chuck A., Joel Vallis, Arthur Lamoureux, our associate producer, Chris Garris, Dave Farabee, Dave A. Gregory, Wanda Valentine, Ren, Kareen, Jer Bear, Victor, and our anonymous supporters. And I want to let everyone know that we are now putting out audio commentaries monthly to our patrons. The first one has just been recorded. We did audio commentary, Taylor and I, for the Academy episode series Acclamation Mill. So that was probably like the fan favorite episode of the season and the one people would want to return to. And we had a lot of fun doing that. So I actually have plans for an episode we're going to do in April that I'm hoping that Joel will be available for, because I want to have him on board. So
We'll figure it out, yeah.
yeah, so that's something that Joel and I will discuss behind the scenes. But just also want to let people know that we want to start shipping out some of the merch we're sending to patrons this year, starting in April. So we've reached out to folks on Patreon to ask for things like shipping addresses or t-shirt sizes in some cases. So if people can be sure to reply back to those, we can start sending that stuff out, because Taylor and I have some fun ideas, and we're getting ready to actually, start shopping for this and getting it sent out to y'all. So we're also going to be showing off some cool designs and stuff. So you can check those out in the Patreon channel on the Tex-Trek Discord server. But we're gonna be rolling out some stuff very soon. And before we talk about these Gorn eggs, like that's something like we normally would do, like week to week.
Each one. Yeah.
I don't know if people will like this more, just getting them all big and like one big burst. This is like what would you call that? Like a big collection of Gorn, a clutch of
supernova
eggs,
of Gorn eggs.
Yeah, what's the plural of like Gorn eggs?
There's words for those. Now I'm trying to talk. I think a clutch. Is it a clutch?
That's what I
eggs?
was saying.
Yeah,
A clutch of eggs. Yeah. So we'll call this the clutch format.
Nice.
Before I go into that, though, I just want to bring up something that was brought to my attention earlier today. I guess you could say like some local news from my perspective, but my hometown, not too far from where I live now, Rockdale, Texas. There was an unfortunate event earlier this week involving a young 18-year-old kid who lives there. On Tuesday, he was detained by ICE, and it's my understanding, like his family, they still don't have any way to get in touch with him. And bear with me just a second. I lost the tab I had this information pulled up on. Okay, so I just wanted to take a moment to talk about Wilmer Sorto. One of his teachers had posted some information on Facebook that I wanted to share with y'all, but not someone I know, but from the people in my hometown who I do know. This does seem to be something that a lot of people are concerned about, and a lot of people are trying to talk about and get the message out there. But this is from one of Wilmer Sorto's teachers, and he says, "I've been doing a lot of thinking the past couple of days, and I can't stay quiet about this. Last year in Rockdale, I had the privilege of coaching and teaching a young man named Wilmer Sorto. If you know Wilmer, you know exactly the kind of person he is. He's not just a good student, he's one of the top students at Rockdale High School. He earned the respect of his peers enough to be voted a team captain in both football and soccer, which says a lot about his character, leadership, and the way he treats people. Wilmer also gave back. He was involved in the PALS program, spending his time mentoring and helping younger kids in the Rockdale school system. That's who he is. Someone who shows up for others, someone who leads the right way. In the classroom, especially in our engineering shop, he stood out. Talented, driven, and always willing to learn. From our principal, Wendy Mahan, Wilmer had his music on in the shop just last week, and he was so excited to show me his planter box he was building. The kind of kid every teacher hopes to have. And now, because of a minor traffic stop on Tuesday, he's been detained and turned over to ICE. This is an 18-year-old kid who has lived in the United States since he was 6 years old. This is his home. His father is a legal U.S. citizen and has already taken the proper steps to get his paperwork handled. Wilmer has no ties to Mexico. His life, his education, his relationships, and his future are all here with us. It's hard to make sense of something like this when you personally know the young man involved. Wilmer is the definition of what we hope young people grow into. Respectful, hardworking, selfless, and full of potential. This just doesn't feel right. I'm sharing this because people need to understand that this isn't just a headline or a situation. It's a real kid, a real family, and a real future hanging in the balance. Praying for Wilmer and his family, hoping for action from our Rockdale and state elected officials for the best results to our city and the kind of person he truly is. So, that was important to me to reiterate that and signal boost that, and just help get that message out there. This is a really horrific story, and it cuts pretty deep when you see stuff like that happening in your hometown. So just want people out there to just be aware of not just this victim, but this is happening a lot, and it's something that people need to really wake up and realize this isn't going to stop until enough of us demand it to stop. But Wilmer Sorto, I asked people out there just to keep them in your thoughts, and if you are in the area in Rockdale or in Texas, this is something to contact your representatives about. So, but sorry to bring down the mood like that. I thought this was important to mention. So, with that out of the way, Joel, I am ready to get into this Star Trek conversation if you are.
Yes, indeed.
Go all the way back to the season premiere. I guess I should say series premiere of Starfleet Academy. Kids these days. So the way that Joel and I are going to do this, I'm going to run through the Easter eggs, in-jokes, and continuity connections of the odd number episodes, and then I'll pass the mic to Joel for the even number episodes. Sorry, I'm not sure why my screen's not being shared right now. Let me... What the hell is going on here?
I didn't touch it. I swear, everyone in the...
Okay, y'all can see that now?
I can now.
Okay, cool. So, just starting from the very beginning, first episode, Kids These Days. So some of these are things that Joel caught, and
yeah, we both rewatched the whole series this week. So
yeah, so there's like a couple of things in here. I'm gonna be like, Joel, what are you talking about with this? Or can you elaborate? But I think he might feel that way about a couple of mine. So
probably.
But we open with Kids These Days, Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 1, with a recap of The Burn from Star Trek Discovery. And also, there's a lot of music cues throughout Academy that Jeff Russo puts in there that kind of homage, a lot of like TOS, but also like some Jerry Goldsmith stuff, like a little like TNG and other Goldsmith work. So we're not going to point out like every time that there's some of that, but just want to mention they did start that from the first episode, from like the opening of the first episode. But this is a fun one. So Caleb Meir, we first see the 20-year-old version of Caleb Meir at the Vrelic penal colony on the planet Toroth, I guess is how you say it. But that's the home of the Torothans. They're the people from the Star Trek Enterprise episode Desert Crossing. And so I thought that was like really cool because they're a very memorable people of that episode. They're the people who Clancy Brown was fighting. But in the Academy episode, the Torothan prison guards, they have like that same marking under their chin. Or maybe it's just like a mark that they're born with. I don't know. But yeah, Clancy Brown, he's been on my mind a lot lately because not only has he shown up in Star Trek, but he's just a huge, prolific actor. I think he's probably like most iconically known from Highlander. But Taylor and I just watched a lot of animated DC Universe stuff where he voices Lex Luthor. He's in a ton of like Superman the Animated Series and Justice League. And now we're also watching on our other show, the Other Star franchise, we're watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, and he voices Savage Opress, the brother of Darth Maul. So,
and eventually shows up in live action. But...
Does Savage Opress?
Not Savage. Clancy does.
Oh, okay.
I wish Savage showed up. That'd be great. No, but Clancy shows up as another alien.
Okay, cool. Good to know. He was recently in like that Gotham TV show. So yeah, he's in 1,000 things.
He works nonstop.
Yeah, if you've watched any movies or any TV, you've seen something that Clancy Brown was in. But in addition to Toroth, we also have Bajor. Of course, me being a DS9 fanboy, I was happy to return to Bajor. And the Little Bloom's early education center. According to the credits for the episode, there's a Suliban kid. So we see like Ake talking to a green kid and an orange kid. I guess the green kid is Orion and the orange kid is the Suliban, which doesn't really look like an Enterprise Suliban, but they're also kind of shapeshiftery in Enterprise. So like, Jesus, by the 32nd century, they could look like anything.
And maybe the lions show up later. I don't know. Did we ever see? I don't remember. No, we didn't see kids.
In the episode
We
Detained,
did.
yeah.
Yes, I just thought of that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good Travis Mayweather episode. It's like one of like 3, so character was underutilized. But also on Bejor, we get to see Admiral Vance as a carryover from Star Trek Discovery. So
yeah, I think he comes into his own here in this show.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
A lot.
He
was great before, but he's
really
great here.
He fits into this new show very effortlessly.
Yeah.
And Laura Thok is introduced in Kids These Days as a half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon. The first Jem'Hadar we've seen in live action since, if you don't count like the holograms in Voyager, since I guess 1999 when DS9 went off the air.
Yeah.
And there is the Saurian officer at the regulation appearance arch when Caleb and Jaden had to go get their uniforms. Not Linus, but sure seems like him, just with the body language and the voice.
And the Starfleet tradition of people without hair being in charge of haircuts, like the Bolians.
Yeah, but good to see David Benjamin Tomlinson.
I think that's
it. People who have 3 names, it's really hard for me to remember like what order their names go in.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see him still working on Star Trek Discovery. I just saw him on the Star Trek cruise. So
he seems like a lovely person. I've seen interviews.
Yeah, and next year is the big 10-year anniversary for Discovery. So hopefully we'll see a lot of him as well as the other Disco cast making the rounds at the conventions and whatnot. And speaking of other established alien organisms that show up in Starfleet Academy, the Doctor treats Caleb for Aurelian lung maggots. So that was a term Neelix used as an insult in the Voyager episode Fair Trade. And there's that famous moment where the Doctor asks for a tricorder, and then when he gets like a standard tricorder, he's got to get huffy and be like, medical tricorder. Directly lifted from Caretaker. The exact same thing happened with Tom Paris and Harry Kim when they first it was like the OG The Doctor scene. That was like the first thing he said after, please state the nature of the medical emergency. So I also want to point out Lieutenant Haley, one of Ake's bridge crew, is a decon. That is a species originally created for the Kelvin timeline. I think it was Star Trek Beyond is when they first showed. But they've appeared in Academy. I'm sorry, they appeared in Discovery a few times. I guess now Academy as well. And when Ake gives her big speech to all the cadets and is like, hey, I am in charge of Starfleet Academy. It's crazy. 24 hours ago, I never would have thunk it. But she quotes Ad Astra per Aspera, which we know is kind of a Starfleet Academy mantra, through struggle to the stars, or to the stars through struggle, something like that.
It's Latin, you can do it either way.
I know. I have it like on a ring on my hand, so I should really get good at how to explain it in the English translation. But I guess just try hard and you can get to the stars. You can get to good things. This was a big topic for a lot of fan discussion, but there's memorial
whole videos
wall
about this, yeah.
So the Star Trek memorial wall is huge. It's actually too big for me to go through all of the names on it.
It's more than one screenshot to get.
Yes,
It's crazy.
and actually, so I didn't know this till I was researching the memorial wall in preparation for this show. But in some shots in Starfleet Academy, they actually CGI additional memorial names on the left and right side of this actual like set prop that they have.
Oh,
So it's bigger on the show than it even is on the actual atrium set. But if you go to Memory Alpha, they have this really cool page where they have it all listed out column by column. And I encourage people to check that out because if Joel and I tried to read that, we would be
it's
here
2
till
hours.
midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, more.
But some of the names that they do kind of show off in the episode is Harry Kilm, who made it to Admiral, Philippa Giorgio, Pike, and Spock both mentioned. So Demora Sulu. It's very just odd. Like, I guess these are all supposed to be dead people, except Kolber is on there, but he did die one time. But it's also kind of weird that, like, a lot of these are people with, like, the rank of lieutenant. And we would be like, I would have thought they would have, made captain at some point. Like, poor
commander.
Nog. Yeah. Nog is a forever lieutenant. Maybe Nog left Starfleet to become Grand Nagus like his dad. I don't know. But, yeah, I always wanted Nog to have, like, a cool Starfleet career and become a captain. Like, in The Visitor,
Minimum.
you see alternate future Nog as a captain. So I wanted prime timeline Nog to be a captain, but I don't know.
Maybe
Just
the
a wall.
records have been lost in the burn.
I would say, like, I'm against the memorial wall. It's like, if you asked me, like, should the show have done this or not, I would have been like, you know what? I would have scrapped that.
Maybe something on a screen that was just smaller scale.
Or something, yeah, something that could be, like, ever-changing.
I mean, I like to, because a lot of them, too, are just cast people, and not
Yeah.
cast, but behind-the-scenes people. Like, and right now we can see Aaron McDonald, and there's a bunch of others like that, and who obviously work on the show, and it's a nice nod, and Trek's always done that, put their names somewhere.
It's basically...
But this is huge. I don't know.
Right, every other Star Trek show has had, like, the dedication plaque on the bridge, where a lot of times, like, you would put, like, Fleet Admiral Gene Roddenberry, and then you have, like, Commodore Mike Okuda, or just, like, have it, like, listed out like that or something. But yeah, this was the show trying to be like, we're gonna do, like, the supersized version of that. But let's talk about the Sato Atrium. A lot of people might be wondering, like, of all the characters in Starfleet, why did they name this atrium after Hoshi Sato? Like, I was kind of like, well, that's kind of an interesting pick. You just go with, like, the OG communications officer from the NX-01. But then I remembered Hoshi was an educator. The first time we ever see Hoshi, she's, like, being a professor teaching a class in Brazil. So... good for her. Good for the show to kind of be like, who were our Starfleet educators we already know about?
Yeah, and Hoshi needs more nice things said about her in Trek.
That's Hoshi and Travis were criminally underwritten in Star Trek Enterprise, which is a real shame to do to your two people of color characters and actors on that show. So not great looking back. So there's so much good stuff in Enterprise, and there's so much good potential with those characters. And yeah, when modern Trek can go back and honor some of that stuff, I say go for it.
Yeah.
It's like Ortega's in Strange New Worlds was saying how she thought Travis Mayweather was so cool. It was like that appreciation for the guys who didn't get enough appreciation when they were on their show. Like man.
And then they only named the gym after him. That
Yeah, he did get a gym named after him. Yeah, that was like also in that episode. Yeah, those old scientists. Yeah, but so Hoshi got the atrium, Travis got the gym. That's how it worked.
Hopefully, he had other high schools,
but in the sequence in the atrium where they're picking their electives, we get a lot of cool stuff. Parisi's Squares is back. So I guess that was originally introduced in the 01100110 whatever episode.
Yeah, with the outfits. Yeah.
But then we learn more about it in Voyager in real life, and then eventually see it played with ion mallets and everything in Prodigy Season 2. There's also the Starfleet Opera Society, headed up by the Doctor, keeping very much in line with his love for opera established in Voyager.
800 years of love.
Which was based on Bob Picardo's real-life love for opera. So it's interesting, the Doctor and Picardo are maybe, like, not that different. Like, Picardo did go to med school before he dropped out to become an actor.
Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
So, it's possible that the Doctor might have done the same thing had he had to actually go to school instead of just having the programming, But in addition to the Opera Club, we have the Association of Cardassian Cadets. I really want in the 25th century, or maybe like earlier, maybe even like kind of like the Lower Decks Prodigy era, but I want like some like shortly after DS9, I want to see the first Cardassian in Starfleet. I think that would be like a cool story to tell. I would love for someone to explore that story. I didn't even learn about this until today, but our friend on social media, Jörg Hillebrand, who is known for the ability to find every single Easter egg that no one else can spot in Star Trek, he spotted out also in this episode, Kids These Days, there is a trans logo with pride colors hanging up on a banner, which I think is like really fucking cool because there are a lot of people in power this day and age who want to erase my trans friends from society, and I like seeing this version of the future is like, no, like they're here to stay. They're going to be part of our society. They're going to be part of our academy. They're going to be represented well into the 32nd century after all of the bigots alive today have died off. Love that. So props to Starfleet Academy. Yeah. My only push, and I don't, it's not my community. I know I don't mean to like speak for other people, but I think a lot of folks would agree with me. My only criticism about this is why was it something in the background that took us like weeks to notice? Why can't it be more front and center? I am thankful to see it there, but I'm just asking the show as someone who has friends in that community and cares about them. Can you please push that more forward and center? Yeah, I think it would mean a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And in that atrium scene for all the electives, Sam speaks to the Doctor for the first time, and she mentions not just the Voyager crew, but also the children of the Protostar, Dal, Murph, and Captain. She says it Gwendola, but okay, it's many centuries later. Yeah. I mispronounce shit all the time. If you ask me to say somebody's name from like 800 years ago, there ain't no way I'm getting it right.
And maybe that's how you say it on Cask. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe. That's with a Caskian accent. But I just love hearing those Protostar kids mentioned right alongside the Voyager crew. They're just... See, the cool thing about that is it says like, oh yeah, that's just as much a cool part of this character's history as the Voyager stuff. That was a great way to honor another underappreciated aspect of Star Trek, but the show Star Trek Prodigy. Then when there was the anomalies they detected that scanned like a possible ion storm, and they also talk about being close to the Badlands, but they talk about, I think it's Lieutenant Rourke is their name, but the character who's supposed to be on the bridge looking for teachable moments and turning every scenario into a lesson. When they mention ion storms, I immediately think of Mirror Mirror. Like, shit, I hope no one goes to the Mirror Universe. Yeah, stay away from the transporters.
It's too far away at this point, we've been told, but who knows?
But Badlands was a cool reference to, I guess it got showed off the most in DS9, but Badlands was a big part of Voyager's show, because that's where Voyager got zapped across the galaxy from. And also Discovery Season 5 returned to the Badlands, so...
Yeah.
What's so bad about the Badlands? Sounds pretty good to me. Keep going back there. Laura Thok on her, I guess I don't want to say deathbed, on her surgery bed as Jaden saves her life.
It went okay.
It came close.
They were just cadets. You never knew.
She quotes the Jim Hadar mantra, "I am dead, I go into battle to reclaim my life," first heard in the DS9 episode To the Death. And of course, when Genesis activates the Doctor during the climactic sequence near the end of the episode, he gives his catchphrase, please state the nature of the medical emergency. And I also want to comment on Noose Braca, who's the bad guy throughout this episode. But near the end, he refers to himself as a Klingerite. And I just thought that was a cool idea to have a half Klingon, half Tellarite bad guy. That's one thing that they do a lot in the later seasons of Discovery and Starfleet Academy, and I think it really works. But to show that the 32nd century is even further into the future than all of the 23rd and 24th century stuff we've seen, they have so many of these mixed race, these biracial Star Trek alien characters. So I thought Klingon Tellarite is a fun combination. I'm always lobbying for the Tellarites to get more attention too. That's another underutilized aspect of Trek. I think he looks a little too human to be a half Tellarite, half Klingon, but I don't know, maybe there's some human in there too. But we also have a half Lanthanite lead character with Ake. And I also just wanted to mention that throughout the episode, I've talked about some of the alien races, but there's Orion, Charon, and a Kelpian cadet. And you also spot a Exocomp cadet buzzing around, but more on that in the next episode.
Soon. Yep.
But that's everything I had for kids these days. Joel, do you want to tell us the Easter eggs, in-jokes, and continuity connections we're talking about from episode 2, Beta Test?
I do indeed, yes. So, yeah, this one is also very fun. Yeah, the intro episodes obviously have tons because we're introducing stuff. So, yeah, it basically starts in, we find out it's Boothby Memorial Park. Named after our favorite Starfleet Academy gardener. First talked about, right? And then eventually introduced in TNG, and then brought back as not him, but, a fake Boothby in Voyager. But Ray Walston? That was his name?
Yeah.
Portrayed by him. The absolute, master. Mr. Hand in, what's that movie? Now that I forget the name, the movie was Sean Penn. And we also hear, too, that Laura Thok gives some little more info about her family, saying her father taught her that victory is life, her mother, that today is a good day to die.
So we know who's the Jem'Hadar and who's the Klingon.
We find that out. Mom's Klingon, Dad's Jem'Hadar. And, yeah, those things work pretty well together, so... You can see why those races could get along.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then more Prodigy, we see a Brickar.
Hell yeah. That was one of my
Walking
favorite
around
moments.
the Academy, and I've seen some people complain. It's like, they use the same render as Prodigy. It's like, if they had to spend money, it wouldn't be here. We got it because they could. So, I loved it, though. Just seeing more Brickars. Obviously, that was beta canon, and then Prodigy brought it live, and Rock Talk, of course, one of the greatest characters of all time. And you alluded to more exocomps, and indeed we have another one here. This one, seemingly, there is a way you name them. This one's Almond Basket. Another lovely exocomp, and also voiced by Catherine Donahue, who did Peanut Hamper in Lower Decks. So, yeah, that's just how exocomps sound. It's not the same. And of course, the recurring joke from our Dean of Students, portrayed by Colbert on the audio, is the Talaxian Furfly. And we start off here with mentioning it. And then it goes on through the end to episode 10. We get a little, I don't know if it's every episode, but it's almost every episode if it's not. I didn't write it down for everyone. But
it was like 6 or 7 of
90% of them.
Yeah.
So
it's in most of them.
After this, yeah. So it's fun. And So apparently, this is from Neelix used fur fly as an insult in fair trade, and later revealed
That was
keeping.
I that was a
Dude,
mistake in my
whoops!
notes. He
I'm
said
reading.
the
What?
lung maggots in fair trade.
Okay,
But he
I didn't
had
look.
the fur fly as like a good luck charm in his ship.
Okay, I didn't know it was Voyager. I didn't look it up because people talked about that right away. Okay, so then we go to Caleb after he gets called back when the Betazoids arrive. After he's been sitting on the fence and he has this thing with Tarima, he starts playing with the zippers. And when I saw this, I was immediately thought of TNG and Gene's mantra: "There are no zippers in the future."
I thought it was funny
All
when you
all the
said that.
ones in the costumes had to be hidden. Why? Because some jerk's just gonna play with them to annoy the doctors and all of us in the audience. So good play, Academy. Good play. And then yeah, we also have in the Academy we have the James T. Kirk Pavilion, where we see the absolutely wonderful banners. We have the Mugatu for the War College and the Laplings for the Starfleet Academy. And I remember in a episode of What We Wanted in this season, which seems like it was many, many years ago, but it was just a few months.
Yeah.
We tried to think of what would the mascots be, and Mugatu did come up. We didn't. I don't think we said War College, but we thought for the Academy. But Laplings, of course, is what a deep cut to what TNG's most toys.
Mm-hmm.
And the little puppet Laplings who are adorable.
Yeah. We'll have more on those mascots in the next episode as well.
Yep. But this is where we first see them in the nice 3D sort of. What are those banners? Yeah. Okay, and then we also have in the sort of outside flirty scene with Caleb and Sharima, he asks what's in her teeth, and she eventually tells him after a little bit that it's a gem representing the sacred eye of Naxia ritually bestowed upon the first daughter of the first house when she reaches Moonflow and becomes guardian of the holy mantle of Beta Z, which of course reminds me of Lawaksana's often repeated phrase, I'm the daughter of the fifth house, holder of the sacred chalice of Rix, heir to the holy rings of Beta Z. Which, either her or Deanna brings up at various points, either with full pride like Lawaksana or mockingly like Deanna, obviously. And then we have later, we see the descendants, we know they must be the descendants of George and Gracie from Star Trek 4, as brought to you by the person who has a pavilion named after him, Kirk and crew. And Tarima also does a Spock without swimming, because Beta Zeds can find this info out without having to get wet, which would have been easier in the 80s San Francisco. But here in the 32nd century, she knows that one of them is pregnant.
Yeah, her telepathy powers just have like more range than Spock's. He had to be up close. It was inconvenient.
Which makes sense because Vulcans are very touchy to get that stuff. So okay, we move on to another odd episode, Vitus Reflux. Take it away.
Yeah, man, there was a lot more in the first episode, but I guess that makes sense. It was also longer,
which makes sense. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was 15 extra minutes, wasn't it?
Okay, Vitus Reflux. What do we got here? This one's on me. Okay, so starting off, Sonic Shower with, I say, questionable Sonics. I watched the scene several times. I swear it was not for the young people wearing very little clothing. I was trying to figure out how the showers work. You don't see any water. You don't see anyone with wet hair or anything. They do have towels, like they have towels after they get out of the Sonic Shower in lower decks. But there is like people in the background of this shower room with like some kind of lighting special effect on them. So I think that's supposed to be the sonicking happening, and they just shot it in like a real life community shower, I guess. But that is a reference to the Sonic Shower.
They're all towel guy here. Yep.
And this is a really fun for me because I love the time travel stuff, and I love the Voyager episode Relativity, but Mike Okuda called them the T-cars, or like the temporal L-cars that would be on the computer displays for temporal agents. We saw it in Voyager. We saw it brought back in Strange New Worlds, and we see the T-Cars in Jet Reno's quantum physics class. There's a line in the episode about Kelrick jokingly having a tea fetish. This might be a bit of a stretch, but I don't know. If you're talking about like a Star Trek character who's hooked on tea, it's hard not to think of the Earl Grey hot man himself, Jean-Luc Picard. Ake also quotes The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Learn patience in a garden and respect for the opponent. I kind of like that. But Sun Tzu's work was also referenced by a bunch of Star Trek characters. Malcolm Reed, Prime Universe Philippa Georgiou, Mirror Universe Philippa Georgiou, Saru, and the Klingon ambassador Doc Ra.
I wonder if the Mirror Universe book Art of War is the same.
Yeah, like
How far back does that split go?
That's a great question to bring up, because Dr. Phlox in the Mirror Universe in Enterprise, he said that Shakespeare was the same. He was the only author he read whose works were the same in both universes.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. And Joel, this is one that you pointed out to me. But Joel loves his horror movies, and he wanted to point out that the glowing green growth accelerant used by Ake on the Vitus reflux plants, or I guess they're a fungus, very similar to the Jeffrey Combs movie Reanimator, when he also has a similar
the
green
reanimation
liquid
serum, whatever. Yeah, it's
yeah.
green and glowy, and Combs is always holding it. It's on every poster. I don't think you can accidentally, because it's a test tube shape too. It looks just like the syringes.
It is actually kind of an iconic image of him pouring.
Because I first knew Combs from
juice.
Reanimator before DS9.
I need to rewatch that movie. I don't think I've seen it in 20 years. So and Taylor has never seen it. Yeah, well, we're gonna watch it this spooky season. That's going to the top of the list.
The first two are great. Third, then it's kind of okay.
The third one is where he's in prison.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I've never seen it. But Jaden craves Klingon food classics. Yeah, I guess he's had too much Starfleet food. So there's this scene. I thought it was kind of like, or Joel, I think you're the one who pointed this out to me. It was kind of like Bubba in Forrest Gump, where he's talking about all the shrimp. And so he's talking about all the blood.
Every kind, as long as it's bloody, and
Yeah, we get Rokeg blood pie, first mentioned in TNG's A Matter of Honor. Brigette Long, that's also from A Matter of Honor. That's when Riker was having to try out all the Klingon food before he went to go be temporary first officer on a Klingon ship. But Brigette Long with Grapok sauce. We know about Grapok blood sauce, I should say. That's something that we learned about in Deep Space Nine's episode Sons and Daughters. That was the sauce that was too hot for Alexander to eat, and he's getting bullied by a Klingon shipmate who's like, "Oh, you should put some more of the sauce on your food." And then like Alexander ends up not able to eat it, but he didn't really know how to eat Klingon food because he didn't grow up a Klingon. So Jaden and Alexander have kind of opposite experiences. Jaden is like, "I need that Klingon food," and Alexander is like, "I can't eat this Klingon food." Oh, and then he had that joke where he mentions gok in his soup, I guess. There is a tie when they conduct tryouts to find the team captain for the Calica team. And Jet Reno jokingly mentions that one possible tiebreaker would be for the two cadets, Genesis and Darum, to dig each other's graves. And I guess it'd be like a race to see who could dig it first. And then the loser gets their eyes plucked out by a baby Gorn. I just want to point out how vicious the actual baby Gorn actually is. So,
which begs the question, does Laura Thok have access to baby Gorn?
Well, if she does, the Alumni Association would not approve.
No, they don't like that.
I don't know who the hell the alumni is, because like the school ain't been open in a hot minute, so I don't. The alumni are all like very old, like Ake, but I guess there's at least one other old head still around from the old academy days. We talked about the team mascots, the Magato and the Lapling, but the mascot suits they wear look so damn good. Joel, we need to get these and like wear these to conventions.
Yeah. Oh my god, because the Mugatu one looks like TOS. It looks like the one there.
Yeah.
Because of course originally it was a gorilla suit with stuff stuck on it.
With a horn glued onto it. But yeah, the
Some back horns, too.
The Magato looks like the Magato from A Private Little War, and the Lapling looks like the puppet thing from The Most Toys. Oh, and when Caleb sees Occam in the Lapling suit, or in the Lappy suit, I guess I should say, he says, "I've seen tougher tardigrades," which is kind of a weird line. Like, are tardigrades known for not looking tough? I don't know, but I assume that was a reference to Star Trek Discovery, and I wonder if the tardigrades were at one time considered as a possible team. I like what they went with better, but just know that might have been an option on the table. Genesis also has the line, "Teamwork makes the dream work," which that was like Dal RL's phrase in Prodigy. He said that like she's quoting a Starfleet legend, if you ask me.
He even says that when he's in Janeway.
Oh, yeah. He makes Kate Mulgrew say that.
And does the finger guns. It's hilarious.
Oh, and Ake has the Warp Core PJs that everyone wishes they could buy from StarTrek.com, but you can't because they don't...
doesn't like money.
Yeah, well, they don't like to make merch for Star Trek fans.
Though, if you're ambitious, you can find a place to get it.
And there you go. Always a way. And Daryl mentions he played the Bella Clavian. That is a musical instrument first mentioned in the TNG episode Preemptive Strike. That's when Ro goes undercover to join the Maquis and then ends up joining the Maquis. But the old man, her like Maquis buddy who dies in the episode, and that kind of pushes her towards her radicalization and going full on Maquis. But they talked about the Bella Clavian. So it was a Bajoran instrument.
Yep.
And we get a good look at the model ships in Ake's office. These are like Eagle Moss or maybe like Fan Home master replica ships. They've been painted
some
gold.
of them seem old enough that they must be Eagle Moss, but
some of them seem
exactly
big enough that I think they might be like some of the model kits put together.
Okay.
But just the ones that I've been able to make out and that people seem to agree are on display. It's kind of interesting, the ships that she picks, but Defiant class, Excelsior class, Galaxy class, NX class, Intrepid class, and Oberth class. It's like, really? You're going to throw an Oberth in with the rest of those? Like, those are all pretty legendary.
You know.
You're going to have an Oberth.
Not enough people have Oberth.
But not enough people have like Oberth hatred. Like I wouldn't even call it hatred. It just has a reputation for being a ship that blows up a lot. Because in TNG, a lot of Oberths, and in Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock, it comes off as like the most soft ass ship ever. Because the Klingons are like, okay, we're going to shoot at them to like disable the ship, and then like one torpedo from a bird of prey makes the entire Oberth blow up. Yeah. And it just was not a healthy introduction for that ship. Not one that would encourage much confidence, I should say.
No.
And this episode, Invitus Reflux, was dedicated to Carla Minigardi, who was a costume cutter for Discovery and passed away in 2024. So this brings us to the big Klingon episode, episode 4, Vox in Excel. I always say this wrong. Excelso?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got, Joel?
Okay, so we start with the Doctor lecturing, and he ends up going into with the first link, the chain is forward speech, which Picard, of course, is he's saying it in the TNG episode of Drumhead, but he's quoting
Aaron Satine.
I was going to say, I wrote it down in my notes. I forgot to put it into our notes. But, yes. So, and of course, Drumhead is one of the greatest things ever. We love that. So, and we find out, too, that this is debate class. Someone whines about why is it debate. And then the doctor rightly says that he debated his rights and his continued existence in author on Voyager. And, yeah, the EMH likes the debate.
He's good at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, he is. He really is. And also in one of the debates, we have Sigma Draconis mentioned, which is the system and from Spock's brain. And, of course, that's an episode where we get that lovely graphic of the system, which was very rare in TOS.
Yeah.
But it always stuck in my mind because it looks really good. And, of course, brain and brain. What is brain?
Yep.
And we have more about Kahless, or the more modern pronunciation in Academy we learned is Kalash, which is probably closer to the original Klingon than whatever we've been saying. Because I think multicultural societies tend to move pronunciation more accurately as time goes on. At least on Earth, it seems like that.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice.
We don't call cities in China Peking, it's like that was like the British 300 years ago said that. And like, we've got a closer thing with Beijing now, right? I'm sure that's not accurate to China, but it's better.
That's a good point that the show chose to do that. I thought that was an interesting choice as well.
Yeah, because, 800 years anyway will shift some pronunciations, and that might be closer to the original Klingon, as it were. And certainly that is. And, Kahless and Molar first mentioned in Rightful Heir, when we first get sort of the big one about that. And then that's later expanded on all the time, basically, in Trek. Because, yes, we had a lot of Klingon episodes. And we find out that Jay Den grew up on Krios Prime, which is first mentioned in The Next Generation's The Mind's Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is where Kamala is from. And there's also another episode in Enterprise where we find out that the sort of similarly named, I always thought, Ketama, who is the sort of the first monarch and of the sovereign dynasty of Krios Prime, who gets trapped with Trip, is also from there. So, yeah, they have a lot of women they export.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, and they establish in The Mind's Eye that it was like a Klingon protectorate. It was like under the Klingon Empire. So it makes sense that would be a place for refugees from Kronos to go to.
And it kind of calls back to actual Earth history where you would marry people off to form alliances and that sort of thing. I always thought it was sort of geopolitically kind of like that, or galactic politically. And the next one is we have the geopolitical impact of the Emerald Chain mentioned as possible debate topic. The Orion Andorian group introduced in Discovery's That Hope Is You, Part 1.
Yeah, I like that they still get mentioned every now and then. They seem like a big deal.
It shouldn't just go away, yeah. Even if the Venari Ral are ascendant or something,
I mean, they're like basically the same. I guess they took over all the EC territory.
They have different mottos and colors, I think. It's for their ships. But, yeah, but there's not much difference. And we also get mentioned in the debate, I believe these are both from Sam. She mentions the Organian Treaty, which, is right out of TOS, which stops that initial, well, not first, but the Klingon War that was about to happen in TOS. And speaking of shifting pronunciations, I think she says the Katomer Accords instead of Kitomer, as we've been saying. But that's a word that every culture would know about and teach about. So maybe that's shifted too, because literally everyone thinks about it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the first time I didn't realize what she said, because And then on the rewatch, I was like,
Katomer.
okay, yeah, I see.
Some new accords must have happened.
Yeah, because I think I was writing a note about the Organians or something. But and then when at the end, when all of the ships come, they're all announced, and one of them, of course, is the USS Riker. And I think if you look carefully, it lifts one nacelle over another one of the ships as it comes in. But it's hard to tell with the detachables, but I think it's there.
The I'm number one ship with one nacelle
it's just
raised.
loaded in. They don't mean to. It's just if you call it Riker, it will lift its leg. And we also, like we mentioned earlier, we have Jerry Goldsmith's Klingon theme brought in as the Klingon fleet arrives, and it is quite glorious, I have to say. I really like that.
Cool. Well, that was Vox in Excelso. Let's go into the series Acclamation Mill episode 5. Okay, this is a big... Man, this one is jam-packed.
Well, by its nature, yeah.
So, but yeah, this is the big Sam-centric episode where it's very, like, Sam breaking the fourth wall, talking to the audience with, like, cool graphics that I assume her artificial AI mind has just, like, created all these visuals. Like, this is what I would show to someone if there was someone listening to this. But we get the list of home worlds when she's explaining Cask, which includes Earth, Vulcan, which I feel like should be Navarre by this point, Orion, Cask, Denobula, but it's spelled wrong, Andoria, Bajor, Delta, Ferenginar, but it's spelled wrong. I do like that they had Delta there for the Deltans. We'll have some more Deltan talk in the next episode.
Maybe she's a bad speller. It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Hirogen Prime, that's actually a planet that the Prodigy kids visited. That was Larry, the murder planet, is what they wanted to name it.
Ah, yeah.
And then Ryza, home of the Rysans, and Beta Z, home of the Betazoids. We learned that Sam plays the theremin, which is a big instrument in Strange New Worlds, which I keep forgetting because he doesn't score the show, but Jeff Russo composed that Strange New Worlds score, which I really love that score. How is a lot of it just is the TOS theme on a theremin, but that fucking works.
It does, yeah.
It was the perfect instrument for her, too, as she describes at the end of the episode, as kind of this intangible, unique, undeniable thing that's there. It's like, yeah, that's the Sam instrument.
And watching people play them is so weird, because it looks like they're faking it, but then you realize, no, you can tell. Every little movement is a little...
Yeah, there's a reaction to it, yeah.
They're nuts, yeah.
We get to see Caleb chew on a Jumja stick in this episode. So just like Jake Sisko used to do in the DS9 days. I heard some people say they didn't know that the Jumja sticks were rubbery like this. But yeah, Sirach Lofton said they were made out of like a plain, neutral, flavorless gelatin. And they were not fun to eat. We get to see Tawny Newsome's new character, Isla Dax, who's the latest host of the Dax symbiont. And it's a little weird to see Dax is like still alive in the 32nd century. I think
they got better at keeping him alive.
Yeah, the age expectancy went like it used to be like 800 years in the 24th century. And Dax was already like 400 then. So yeah. Dax would be like 1200 something by this point in time.
Because in the timeline, Dax is alive in 2026.
Although I was discussing that with Taylor, and Taylor suggested to me, how do we know that Dax didn't pull like a Jet Reno and jump forward in the future at some point in time too? And I was like, well, that's
true, but
I don't necessarily need that to explain it, but that sure as hell works.
Eventually, symbiotes just stopped eating so much, fatty food. It worked.
But Isla Dax's class, or seminar, I guess I should say, the Confronting the Unexplainable seminar topics didn't just include the fate of Benjamin Sisko, which is the one that really got Sam's interest as a fellow emissary, but also the origins of the Omega molecule, more on that later, deja vu, psionic effects of the galactic barrier, like in Where No Man Has Gone Before, Katra stones, like on Vulcan, the immortal and non-corporeal entities like the Guardian of Forever
Carl.
and Deja
Yep.
Vu. And there's a Cisco kids book that does a really fun, colorful job of.
It's beautiful. It's really great art.
Yeah, it allows the actors and writers to quickly explain how Cisco became the emissary and also the ending of Cisco's story in the fire caves of Bajor at the end of DS9. So I guess spoilers for DS9, but man, like that final episode aired 27 years ago. I don't always like that excuse. There's stuff from like decades ago that I haven't watched yet that I really don't want people to spoil for me, but I guess it is my own fault.
Get on DS9, people. Get on DS.
Yeah. And we also see Bajor Club, yet another school activity on the campus. There's that paw check when the kid is trying to check Sam's paw, and then like she does it back to him, which I thought was funny.
She thinks it's a handshake. It works very well, especially after episode 1, where she didn't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is very similar to her in Genesis's first handshake.
Genesis has to look down here.
But the pod check goes back to Kai Opaka in episode 1 of Deep Space Nine, Emissary. And we get the Ben Sisko Museum, which has like a lot of like really cool things in it. We see Sisko's old DS9 uniform, the black and gray. But there's also a lot of fun props. Benny Russell's typewriter. Not sure why it's there since that was all like a dream, but maybe at some point Ben or Jake replicated an old typewriter just to, I don't know, like a little like reminder of Benny Russell. There's the Willie Mays baseball card, the DS9ers cap and the ball that everyone signed, and a really great looking Orb of the Prophets that was like spot on like the OG prop from DS9.
Yeah, you are a really good museum if you get loaned an Orb of the Prophets from Bajor.
But it could also have been like a holographic recreation.
I hope so, because I'm like, maybe they're less salty because the Klingon or the Cardassians stole so many, they'd be like they'd want to keep them. But maybe that's less.
I didn't think of this, but the Orb of the Emissary is the one that the Siskos and Ezri dug up.
Yep.
That his mom was the being that had inhabited his mom was like living in this orb outside of the Celestial Temple. I don't know if they ever show them turn that one over to the Bajorans. It could have been that Sisko or like Starfleet kept the Orb of the Emissary and it just ended up in his museum. If it was any of them, it would be that one. Yeah, it could even be like the Bajorans. Like, well, the prophets gave these orbs to the Bajorans, but they gave that one to the Emissary. It's not ours. Maybe. So, yeah, keep it in the museum.
Take care of it. They're not worried. They're not Cardassian. So.
There's some interesting things when they show the Sisko family tree that they do a lot of like really cool names in there. They add a lot of black actors in Star Trek into the Sisko family. But the odd thing is that in addition to spelling Cassidy's name wrong, they don't show the child of Cassidy and Ben Sisko. But I think that's not a mistake. I think that's actually like a really cool opportunity to tell a story about how, like, yeah, they just decided for that kid to grow up in a private life without like all these, Bajoran fanatics bothering them or anything. Just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna keep this kid separate from that.
Yeah.
Jake wants to be the big famous writer. Jake can go do that. And Cassidy's kid, maybe Cassidy's kid wanted to be a freighter captain like their mom.
Yeah.
Who knows? We get the first appearance of Jake Sisko via way of hologram since What You Leave Behind in 1999. Very happy to see Sirach Lofton back. And I'm hoping this is something that they do a lot of in Season 2, is have some legacy Trek characters show up through holograms. They've hinted at that being a possibility. Alex Kurtzman said there are some fun guest stars coming up. They're not blowing their whole budget on Paul Giamatti and, She-Hulk.
Tatiana
Maslany. So, yeah, they're going to have money to, bring in some of those Star Trek people, I guess.
Regular priced actors, yeah.
But we get it canonified that he did not publish his book Anselm. We first learned about it in The Visitor when he wrote it in that other timeline, and we know that he also wrote it in one of the worst episodes of DS9 ever, The Muse. It's like we learn about Anselm in the best episode ever, and then we learned that Prime Timeline Jake also writes the book in like the worst episode ever. But they never said if he published it or not, so we now know he didn't. He kept it as like a private thing. When they have that establishing shot of the port of San Francisco, you can see a King Mai establishment from Torcana 4, which is very bizarre. That was a very nasty planet that Tasha Yar grew up on. But there's also a Quarks. It's just the letters Quark. It's like I think the S is like hidden behind another building.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
But you also see in the skyline the butterfly logo from the Mariposa's medical thing from Picard season 2. Dr. Teresa and Santiago Cabrera's character. What's his name? Rios.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cristobal Rios. I forgot about that guy. No one talks about him anymore.
That's because he died in a bar fight, right?
He did. Speaking of bar fights.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, Sam seeks out not just going to a bar like Cisco, but a bar fight with Vulcanoids that are being bullies, like Cisco did at the launching pad. Yeah. We also get the appearance of Jackie Cox, Star Trek's first drag queen. This is so cool. Like drag is still around in the 32nd century, so I like seeing that. It was fun watching this and being like, oh hey, that's Jackie Cox. Who
does all these real world Trek things? And...
Yeah, the only drag show I've ever been to was at the Star Trek Mission Chicago convention, and it was Jackie Cox.
Nice.
Who seemed very, very happy to be part of a Star Trek celebration and very much a massive fan.
Yeah.
And Sam, drunkenly in the bar, talks about Cisco probably just wanted to build sailboats and start riots, referencing the DS9 episodes Explorers and Past Tense. Jake also points out the Kendra Valley where his father had planned on building a family house, which never came to be because shortly after that Cisco had to leave our temporal realm and go be with the prophets in the wormhole. But the picture they use in the book is just like they just copy pasted the actual image from the show. It's probably somewhere in California, but it's on Bajor. And the episode ends with Sam talking to her makers, saying she's going to succeed on her own terms, and says, "And I can live with that." Very much reminding us of Cisco at the end of one of the most famous Trek episodes in The Pale Moonlight, when he says, "I can live with it." And the last thing we see in the episode before the credits is Cisco's face appearing in the clouds, as well as a DS9 theme playing over the credits, which was really cool. I noticed that they added the sound of they didn't add it, they just didn't remove the sound of the Defiant flying into the wormhole. You can hear it in there.
As it should be.
And they used the season 4 and onward music.
Yeah.
I like both. I think they both work, but that's the one I would have used. Okay, that brings us to episode 6, Come Let's Away. So what do we got, Joel?
Okay, well, that phrase, "come let's away," is from Shakespeare, famously used in King Lear and Romeo and Juliet. It basically just means "let's go," but in a much more fun Shakespearean way. Because I did look up, I tried to find if it was one famous. There's a pretty famous King Lear speech it's in, but that phrase isn't super important to it, and it comes up more than once. But also in the beginning, we have references to Deltan sex, and this goes pretty deep because we heard My oath of celibacy is on record in the motion picture and all that. But, now we find out that, there's cleansing milk. There's family tambourines. This is when you have Delton's
It
first
is
have
complicated.
sex. I don't think it's every time, because, who can arrange a family for every... Especially if you're Delton. But... And then, Trima whispers the unspeakable thing that they do to Caleb, and basically she's just torturing him at that point, and it's hilarious. And we also get the Beta Z mind speaking, which first we get in. We'll cover at Farpoint right away with Deanna and Will Riker, not Bill. Oh God, not Bill.
Do you remember what I taught you, Mzadi?
Yes. And then of course there's lots more with Lawaxana, sorry, and Deanna throughout TNG.
They have whole conversations without moving their mouths. Yeah.
Lawaxana loves to do it, but we also, of course, we get to the training ship, and it is the wreck of the USS Miyazaki, obviously named after Hayao Miyazaki, the biggest, old school anime director of all time.
Studio Ghibli guy.
Yes. Who, I don't know if I haven't seen all of his movies, but I've seen like 80% of them, I think.
Taylor showed me a lot, and I fucking love his work.
Good.
Yeah,
amazing.
It lives up to the hype.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service, My Neighbor Totoro. And then you get the Princess Mononoke, and oh my God! So he ranges from like cute, cuddly, small scale things to like Princess Mononoke. It's insane, the scope. And then Porco Rosso. There's an anime about a guy turned into a pig by fascists who now flies seaplanes in Europe, and somehow it works. It shouldn't, but it does. But that ship was post-burn. They were trying to make a new drive, and it had a singularity drive as they're trying to restart throughout the episode after they're captured, just like the Romulans. It's probably not the same exact kind as the Romulans, but singularity based.
Yeah, it made me think Romulan too.
Because that's the only place we've ever really heard that. And that was throughout that TNG is where that started. That wasn't a TOS thing. But let's see here. And then, of course, we have the when they go over there, they turn on their plasma-based life support system, which, of course, are a version of the life belts from TAS, as written about by Aaron and Rich. Buy their book. And I thought that was great. And it's actually, they're bigger because it's part of their armor. So they're not as small as the nice TAS ones, but they do it's the Calica armor again, I think. Which they reuse, which makes sense. You make nice armor, you're going to reuse it for your show. And then we get the first good look at a Xindi insectoid cadet, which is super fun because, we haven't really seen them since Enterprise, right?
Yeah, there was like a Xindi delegation in Discovery.
Too. Those weren't insectoids. We had other Xindi.
Yeah, they had the
Xindi
reptiles.
Prodigy as guards, the regular ones. But yeah, the insectoids were fun because, they couldn't be on as often because, they were expensive to do, unlike just the costumes. But that's fun. And then we have Ba'avi mentioning that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, as a famous officer said, which I thought was nice.
Some famous officer.
Because we all know we don't need to say his name.
Oh, it was Spock. I heard that and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar. Who said that? Oh, I don't know. Some guy named Spock. Okay.
And the Furies, who are new, we find out, they look like they're from a direct-to-video 90s sci-fi movie, which is good. I think the effect is cheap and good with it. But we find
Babylon
out they're part
5 did that.
Yeah. A lot of 90s things did because it was cheap. It's just mostly editing, I think. But it looks good. But they're part line art, which is a kind of bat, and thus we find out from Noose, and then they start, they need a sonic weapon to do the bat thing. Well, not the bat thing, but the anti-bat thing. And the Linar we find out on a covert mission in to Cetrus 3 in 2369, the Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Dr. Beverly Crusher, and Lieutenant Worf encounter a small flock of Lynars in Chain of Command, and Worf was teased by Beverly for being scared of bats.
TNG
Poor
Worf is
Mr. Wolf, always getting made fun of. And then, of course, a large part of the end of the plot is the Tales from the Frontier comic, which Ba'avi has read, and we find out later Caleb also did too. And this was the story of the original mission of the Miyazaki, and presumably before that. It's not just the final mission. I think there's a bunch that leads up to it. And they're all portrayed in the book as TOS officers with that uniform, but which, who knows? Maybe Starfleet was using that uniform again, as I think sometimes they do, because they get bored. And they
maybe these guys got discoed like the Discovery.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. They might have been from that time.
Because just like the Lost Year, they say that they used the Monster Maroon the whole time, but who knows if there weren't other uniforms in the middle? We just haven't seen.
True.
Them. And it just keeps coming back because it's nice. And then to the rescue with the anti-bat sonic weapon is the USS Sargasso, an Intrepid class, obviously named after the Intrepid from TOS. So that's all for Come Let's Away. So now we go.
We're gonna go to the
Klingon. A ceiling.
We're gonna go to the Klingon beachwear in Kozine. So this episode, Jaden did not want to wear the Hawaiian shirt to Ibiza is the name of the island.
Yes,
it's Mediterranean, right?
It's Spanish.
Okay.
On the that side, the Mediterranean side.
Okay. I want Cake
I
is
had to
Eternal.
look it up because
That's your neck of the woods, right? But yeah, we also saw Worf go on vacation and also was requested to wear some questionable beachwear that Jaden just had like a Hawaiian shirt. Like it looked like something I would wear on the Star Trek cruise. But Jadzia wanted to put Worf in this this gold Speedo looking thing. So
he became a terrorist instead.
Yeah, so he became like this weird like Puritan terrorist. It's like, why are you vacationing? You should all be working in the field, damn it.
Jaden got kidnapped and was still better behaved, so look at that.
Oh, and speaking of the kidnapping, the marital abduction we see in this episode is quite similar to the Orion tradition of bridal kidnappings, which we first saw in Star Trek Lower Decks. Something borrowed, something green. And I love Jaden having the classic Klingon line about today is a good day to die when he's told, declare yourself, when he's like running to rescue Darum, and he says, I declare only that today is a good day to die. I love Kareem's delivery of that, and he looked so cool and deadly in Klingon holding that rock to protect it. We know that he does not like violence, but he will get violent to protect people.
Yes.
Which you want in your medical officer. You want that in your doctor, right?
Sure, yeah.
Protective, you know? There is... there's a line from Caleb in which he makes the phrase Dadmiral officially Star Trek canon. I know a lot of fans have been saying that for a while. But he says that he's probably happy... He says in response to... Genesis asking if he's happy. Probably happier than your esteemed Dadmiral. And then while Genesis and Caleb are hanging out alone on the Athena, they play that weird game with the toxic or not toxic. Yeah, so we get some big ears on Caleb. His ears start to grow from touching the warp slug, not unlike Kirk's hands in Star Trek 09 when McCoy infects him with some stuff and he gets all weird puffy hands, puffy tongue too.
Dumb tongue, yeah.
Jet Reno not only treats her broken toe herself, but then says, I should have gotten into medicine. And that's an interesting line because she experienced having to be a medical officer, I guess, all on her own on the USS Hiawatha in the Discovery episode Brother that introduced her, where she was like having to use her engineer knowledge to like get a Tellarite's heart to keep pumping and stuff like that. And this is one that Joel found for me that I didn't even think of, but we get
Immediately,
Genesis.
I thought this. Yeah.
Yeah, we get the overhead shot of Genesis and Caleb in the turbolift, just being friends, goofing around, just hanging out, killing the time. It is very similar to a shot of the lower decks characters that we see in the episode Caves, but it's meant to be a flashback to the events of the first episode of the show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot how that, yeah. Timey-wimey.
Yeah, very timey-wimey there. And we also want to point out that the Kionians are, despite that they all look very humanish throughout all of this episode and honestly all of Academy so far, except for that one sequence in the first episode. But they also have this other form where they are aquatic people who live underwater, very much like the Aquans that we saw in the animated series episode, the Ambergris element. That's a hard word to say. It's like, I only hear people talking about it if they're reading Moby Dick. But Ambergris, whatever.
Ambergris, I believe.
Ambergris,
it's also
okay.
an old school, like, perfume additive. Which is gross, because it comes from the back of a whale.
But the Aquans are cool. I like the Aquans. That's a good episode with a weird name.
Oh, I think Jill's saying it's ambergris.
Ambergris, okay. Thank you,
French.
Thank you, Jill.
Okay.
Thank
you, Jill.
French always throw me for a curve. Yeah. Okay, but enough about that. Enough about Cosine. We're closing in on the end here. We're in the last 3 episodes, and there's actually not there's not much in these last 3.
Yeah, there's more plot, and then there's less room for the this kind of stuff.
Well, let's go big with the Life of the Stars. What do we have in the Life of the Stars, Joel?
Okay, well, of course, we have Tilly, as prophesized by, well, Paramount said Tilly would return. And indeed she has here. Yeah, because she's been working with third years in the Beta Quadrant on something probably not theater related. But she's brought in to, of course, try to do trauma counseling without telling the kids they're doing trauma counseling. And she does this through theater, because theater is statecraft, statecraft is theater. And as we know from all of Star Trek, all Starfleet academies, by the end, when they graduate, have to know Shakespeare backwards and forwards.
Yeah, they sure quote it a lot.
Even if they don't know it in the original Klingon, they should be at least able to quote it. So, and then we have, they all have to pick plays, and Jaden picks, of course, a Klingon opera, because that is, well, their theater, of course. And we find out amongst many things and many murders that Klingons do, in fact, have quadra testicles, as been rumored since, they have 2 of everything.
Yeah, so they'd have 4 of those.
So 2 streams, 4 quadra testicles. It makes sense. Now it's canon. And then he's like, I'm sick, I'm out of here. Because what else do you say after that? But we also have the Doctor, who is on the shuttle to Cask, is listening to El Lucifin La Stella, an aria from the 3rd act of Tosca, which he said made him cry the first time he listened to it in Voyager's Imperfection. Because we all know the EMH loves opera, and this is one of the first he fell in love with. And bringing up more Doctor and Voyager, Cask time dilation is just like the planet in blink of an eye in Voyager's 6th season, which we now find out from the Doctor in this episode is called Gotana, which was good because before we only had the weird planet where time moved very fast, and so did the people who live there, as, Naomi named that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not very pithy, so sorry, Naomi. It didn't stick. It's
a good name, but too long.
It's very accurate. Very accurate. And then as this goes on, we have, I don't even know how to list them, but there's so much our town shoved in this episode, in the entire thing, that it's insane. Because, yes, the name Life of the Stars is directly from our town. Many of the shots, they don't have any ladders, but basically anything else, yeah, for the final shot of Aki, it just goes down to one light on a, basically a stage. That's directly from it, and obviously they end up reading it, and there's so much Our Town. If you haven't seen Our Town, there's a bunch for free on YouTube. There's some movie versions, and there is like pro shot stage versions. There's some great ones with Paul Newman, and a very odd one with Frank Sinatra.
That's the one to avoid, is my understanding.
Well, you should watch it because it's just weird.
Well, watch another one first, and then go to that one.
Watch the 2003 where Paul Newman, who's in that one with Frank Sinatra as George, but he's the stage manager in 2003. And if you want to watch a bunch of other, you find an actor you like from the 80s or 90s, there's probably a version of him doing the play on YouTube. There's so many. It's nuts.
Nice.
Because it's very popular, as, I've heard it too. And I did I don't know how many years ago, I did see Mary Wiseman and do some Our Town lines on the stage at STLV, which was very weird. Then to find this later, I have no idea if that's connected. But I mean, you go to Juilliard, you're going to do Our Town at some point. So I have no idea.
Yeah, was that something like where her and Mary Chieffo played mother and daughter?
Because they'd both been to Juilliard, and they overlapped a little. At
and
Juilliard,
they couldn't talk about their Star Trek work because it was during the strike. So instead, they were talking about doing a play together at Juilliard. So they were talking about Our Town.
Yep, and they did.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
I wasn't sure because I didn't really know. I've heard of the play Our Town, but I didn't really know the story until
I had never seen it either till this trick.
Yeah,
but I had heard some of those final speeches, including some of what they did. I had heard some of the lines because they're really famous. And they're much more quotable at the beginning of the play, because the beginning of the play is more like, slice of life, like
I just
getting milk and stuff. But
I just started reading the play after when I saw the episode, and the first page, I was like, oh wow, this is like, I love this guy's writing.
Yeah, because it starts off slice of life, and then you get into these sort of big speeches, which you can see why they're so quotable. And if you're going to just do a speech from a play, why someone would pick it. And yeah, they're quite lovely, and it goes deep. But in addition to that, we, of course, find out the reason why the Doctor has been sort of weird around Sam since the beginning. It's really, second episode, when she goes up to the Opera Booth Club, is because he's been having flashbacks of Belle from the Voyager episode Real Life, and of course, it's the super idyllic family that the Doctor creates, but then, B'Elanna's like, this is not realistic. First of all, your teenager should be obsessed with Klingons, and then put some randomness in here. And of course, unfortunately, Belle gets sick, and the Doctor is unable to save her, and she dies while he's holding her hand. In addition, before that, she screams that the Doctor can't find her ion mallet for Parisi Square. So, she might be it might have started at Parisi Square. It's very dangerous. Who knows? But, yes. So, I wouldn't rewatch Real Life 2 after this episode aired. Yeah. It's still affecting.
Yeah, one of the saddest Voyager episodes ever.
It really is. And Picardo here just sells it even more that it's haunted him for 800 years. It's wonderful. And we have Terima later drinking what she describes as the tears of Crisari in a little clay. Well, it's actually, I think it's wood, because she talks about how it's ages in wood casts in orbit. And Crisari, which is kind of strange, but oh well. Crisari species was first introduced in DS9's The Circle. And they are probably not aged in wood in orbit, but maybe, who knows?
Yeah, they traded plants, so maybe they have like the good trees that can produce that.
The good stuff. Because yes, the
good
tears
barrels.
of Crisari sound like it's very strong.
Okay. That was it for the Life of the Stars.
So we can go on to episode 9, the 300th night.
Yeah, I told you there's not much in these last three.
Yeah, I thought I was. Am I tired? Am I not taking enough notes? It's like no, there's just less.
So 300th night, our penultimate episode of the season. We get the Klingon bonding ritual, the Roost-Day ritual. That was something originally introduced in the Next Generation episode, The Bonding, with Jeremy Astor is the name of that kid.
Yes.
The Omega 47 that Vance informs Ake and Kelrick about is they just added the Star Trek 47 to the Omega molecule. It's a variant, I guess like the most dangerous variant of the Omega molecule, introduced in the Voyager episode, The Omega Directive.
They mentioned you can just talk about it now in the 32nd century.
Oh yeah, I guess it's just public knowledge. Yeah, enough science.
Which makes sense because you can't.
It's public knowledge.
Forever.
Yeah. Enough people have discovered it. Kelrick mentions the Erdani system, which is the real-life star that Navarre orbits. So you can look in your telescope and you can see Vulcan's star. It's kind of cool. And they use a transwarp tunnel to get to Ukek, like the Borg travel through the transwarp corridors, as depicted in Star Trek Voyager. This is the first appearance of Jaden's baldric. I guess it's part of his dress uniform, his dress attire. But, everyone wants to give Worf credit for the baldric, but y'all forget the original baldric goes all the way back to the very first Klingon episode itself, Errand of Mercy, and was worn by original Klingon Kor.
Which is the one Worf wears in season 1.
Yeah, or at least it has the same emblem on it. It's interesting that Klingons used to always wear those over their left shoulder, but then when they have Worf, someone was like, well, we want to put his Starfleet comm badge on the left side. So after that, the baldrics all switched to the right shoulder. But you go watch
you never know. Yeah.
Watch the Ambassador in Star Trek 4, the pompous ass. He has the baldric going left shoulder. I can't say that word anymore. I've said it too many times.
Shoulder.
Thank you. Now, Joel, explain this one to me. On Udek, we see the traditional indication of sketchiness by having the inhabitants of a planet wear fingerless gloves.
I think this really well, I think it's a general thing that started in the 80s. If it's a post-apocalypse movies, they'd have people around barrels with fire, and they would wear fingerless gloves just because they're cold and they're outside, and because anything that's Dickensian, you see, they always have that too. They're wearing fingerless gloves and they're poor and up to no good. And TNG did this a bunch. There's a bunch of episodes, and just the ones who end up on Starbase 80, because they bring their little fire things and do that as well, and so I just think it's funny. They're still going old school when they want to make Ukek sketchy. The Venari Ral are coming, but it's already a place of fingerless gloves and villainy. And so they're wearing masks. They're all there, but they're all sort of in disguise. They're all wearing fingerless gloves, and it doesn't look cold, but maybe it is.
Yeah, it just lets the audience know it's a sketchy planet.
Yeah, it's just a clue that because if it's in the TNG planet where everyone's happy. What are they wearing? The swimwear and maybe a shawl or something. So, yeah, I just thought that the tradition continues here on Ukek, and it works.
Okay. We also have Jet Reno saying that she wants to field test the automated bridge systems. Scotty doing very much the exact same thing in the search for Spock to explain why the Enterprise could operate with just a few characters on the bridge in that episode, and why the Athena can operate with just a few characters on the bridge in this episode.
Indeed.
Speaking of the Athena, recreating some of the cool moments of other starships, Ake gives the order to pull a Kamal. Kamal was the planet in the Discovery episode Red Directive, where the Discovery and the USS Altares, was it? But the two ships have to stop the like the avalanche, the mudslide, whatever, like a mountain coming down on a valley, by just bringing the ships down to the planet's surface. But I thought it was much more similar to what we saw in The Devourer of All Things Part 2 with Mama Bear Admiral Janeway coming down on the badass as hell Voyager A, the superior Voyager. I don't care what anyone says. It looks so much better, looking all sovereign-y. Disagree with Carol Freeman on ship design. But it was one of my favorite moments in all of Star Trek Prodigy. And just like all of Janeway, I guess. But yeah, a really cool moment there. She did it better than Burnham or Ake, in my opinion. But that's just me. And the Athena gets knocked out of warp at the end of the episode by an isoletic burst weapon. Isoletic weapons, they were banned by like the second Khitomer, or maybe like the second or third Khitomer. There were like multiple eras of Khitomer Accords, but Geordi says those weapons are banned when the Sona used them in Star Trek Insurrection. And then Vadic and Picard Season 3 also had isolinear weapons. So, like I said, not much in these last 3 episodes. That's it for 300th Night. Joel, let's close out the season with the season finale, Rubicon.
It is hard to say. It is hard to say. So, yeah. So in the beginning, we find out that I have one eye. Wait, it's the wrong shoulder. Yes. I have problems with shoulders, too. Mobile emitters, because the whole time I've been the emergency Tex-Trek co-host, and you guys didn't even notice, because I have a mobile emitter on. But we see he takes his off, and it goes into, the Athena. And we get that after Aki, I jumped ahead. Aki first clues the EMH into what she wants him to do, and by quoting the ancient Greek, who I don't think you have his name here, but I have him in my notes. Hermes Trismegistus. That's hard to say. I don't speak ancient Greek either. So, leap clear of all that is corporeal and make yourself greater. And then the quote actually goes on. It's very interesting. And he's where we get the word hermetic from. This clues the Doctor in to the training sort of, or strategy. It's sort of like Riker, evasive maneuver 12, but instead it's the hermetic maneuver. And using his mobile emitter, he puts into the ship, and then sort of the Doctor goes into the ship as well, and then he can control all the hollow emitters and fake that the Venrali Ral have destroyed the ship when they launch their torpedoes, with all the big pieces coming, and then we get a great shot. The credits start with the abbreviated movie-like credits. And yeah, that's super fun. And that is very much like the deflector holotrick from Voyager's Basics, Part 1. Also.
Yeah, except it works better this time, where he doesn't get projected out into the space battle.
They've had time to, and hollow emitters have to be better, and all that fun stuff. And then very soon after that, we have Reno saying we do one emergency at a time, which echoes in the Picard series. At one point, we hear the line that one impossible problem at a time, which I always thought was a great line in Picard, and this variation it's fun. And Reno, of course, is just so many. They have so many great lines for Reno here, and Tig is just killing it. I love it. So, and then we find out the title Rubicon, which is of course an allusion to crossing the Rubicon, which is what Caesar famously did. And then he goes on to say, well, he didn't really say it, but historians always say, he said, Veni Vidi Vici, after that I came, I saw, I conquered. But in Latin, it's actually pronounced with W's. And
right.
It's weenie, which is horrible to our English-speaking ears.
But that's
actually spray-painted in the Athena later.
In the atrium. Yeah. I thought his line when he crossed the Rubicon...
I might be mistaken. He didn't actually ever say it. But.
I think he said, that's when he said the die is cast, or at least that's when he was supposed to have said that.
But he's supposed to have said that later too.
But yeah, he was supposed to have said a lot of shit. Like, who knows what he actually said.
He wasn't that pithy. He did a lot of writing, so we do have stuff Caesar actually wrote. Like when he was in his Gauntlet campaign, which was where he was coming back from. And just no one thinks he actually said that. They wrote that in hundreds of years later because it just sounds cool. But Rubin particles, which the Rubin con the doctor was trying to get out, are named after Vera Rubin. And Fatheree added this one because you could say anything about Vera.
I don't know much about her other than she's a real life astronomer.
I was going to look it up and I forgot. So I don't know what exactly she did, but if she was an astronomer in that age, that was hard.
Yeah, she was born in 1928 and was an American astronomer who pioneered work on galaxy rotation rates.
Yeah, and there weren't many women in astronomy at that point, so...
Right. Yeah, she passed away in 2016, 88 years old.
Salutes to her. And then we also hear, or read, I guess, really, the three worlds considering joining the Venari Ral are Aldebaran, home of the famous Aldebaran whiskey.
Aldebaran whiskey, right?
Aldebaran.
Yeah, that's what Kirk would drink in TOS, though.
I can remember the bottle and then the pronunciation now. And then we also have Haika, home of the Haikins in Mir, TOS, and New Kronos.
So Krios Prime has been renamed New Kronos, we think. Like, what else would be New Kronos if not... Or no, not Krios Prime. That Alpha Flan, Alpha whatever planet, yeah. It's New Kronos now.
Which makes sense, because, you've had hundreds of years. They would, well, not hundreds of years. Hundreds of years since the burn, and then when they finally get a planet, you would name it that, yeah. And we finally hear President Rillick mentioned, although... we have no appearance, but at least, we know she's still there. And
she's still president after the...
Around.
I wonder when her election was, or what, like, Federation term limits are like. Because it's been 5 years, or I guess it's been 6 years since we first saw her in Disco Season 4. And she's still president. But maybe they don't have term limits, or maybe they have, like, an 8-year term. I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff.
Super popular. I don't know.
But yeah, maybe we'll actually see her again on screen
in season
at some point.
That would be nice. They had a lot of characters, so I suppose shoehorning her in might have been hard. But let's see here. And then, of course, one of the very last shots we have, as we're looking at our cadets, and we see the window outside with a bunch of ships going by, we finally see the Discovery sitting there. Took to the 10th episode. We already had Tilly, but here we go. We have the Discovery outside. It is looking good.
Yeah, so glad to know the Disco still flying proud in the fleet.
Because we heard the Disco was getting, upgrades at one point, and it was busy, and can't fly through New Spraka's Wall of Death. We learned that, too, because it will set everything off. I wonder if tardigrades flying around can set off the Wall of Death. I hope not.
Yeah, I'm curious who else is still on the Disco. Is it Michael and Rayner as captain and first officer? And there's no Tilly because she's working with the third years in the Beta Quadrant. But I guess Stamets
Linus.
is just...
Linus.
Linus might be chief science officer because Stamets is Spore Drive man.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? By this time, maybe some of those other crew members have left, but it would be... I want, like, a book or something. Like, I want to hear, like, what the Discovery is up... Like, what their post-Season 5 adventures are like. Maybe that'll be explored someday.
Comics, something.
Well, cool. Well, that was everything in Season 1. So, thanks, everyone, for watching us live and... interacting with us in the chat, and thank you everyone watching or listening to us later. Joel, it was a lot of work to put this together, so thanks for helping me out and being available this week.
Yes, I binged the whole season starting on Wednesday and did more taking notes because I had my notes from watching all 10 episodes, so I would go back and find them. But I knew I didn't just take notes previous looking for these things.
So yesterday I watched like all 10 episodes and like almost like a straight shot, like straight through.
I took 2.5 days because I finished this morning.
But I realized there's so much more that I like in Starfleet Academy. Like, There are so many things I love in Starfleet Academy. There's more things I love than there are things that I dislike. Like I truly am grateful to have this Star Trek show. It's unique, and I think it has like a few issues here and there, but like overall it very much I think does what it set out to do, and I'm looking forward to another season of it. I mean, who knows if we'll get more than that? I would love to see more of these characters, but I'm thankful that this is only half of what we know we're gonna get. There's still another 10.
Yeah.
Unless there's some weird ass Paramount fuckery for a tax write-off and they bury the show. If that happens to anything, it's going to happen to Section 31.
For content. I can't believe,
If they were going to nuke
content.
something, I think like Section 31 probably has like some type of contractual arrangement that it has to be on Paramount Plus for so many years.
Prodigy was animation, and they always screw animation.
Yeah. Prodigy it still needs a home again.
Yes, but they're not worried about it because it's animation for some reason. Which is a travesty. I agree.
Maybe we'll cover more. We'll do a Prodigy rewatch at some point. I think we might do some type of Disco Season 1 thing next year to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. But anyways, but that's gonna do it for this week. Next week we're actually gonna take a break. There's not gonna be a show next Friday. We're just gonna take the week off after a big season of Starfleet Academy to talk about. But
go to Ryza, become a terrorist.
Go to Ryza.
No, do not mess with the weather on Ryza, people. Never.
But if y'all want to see me and Taylor talk about the other Star franchise, you can follow the other Star franchise. We're gonna finish the Clone Wars soon, and then eventually get into some live action stuff like Andor and The Mandalorian and all that. So we're rewatching a lot of Star Wars stuff over there. Also, I did the Supermaniacs podcast on Monday, where we discuss Superman. He's getting a lot of cool media lately. And Tex-Trek will return in 2 weeks. We'll be back in April. And we're going to be doing some backtracking retrospectives to Legacy Trek episodes that are especially relevant to this season of Starfleet Academy. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah. So it's going to be fun exploring those. We're going to have Joel back on some of them. We're going to have Sohel and Rachel and Aaron making appearances. So looking forward to there's like some good episodes like Omega Directive and Data's Day. Real life. Yeah. So
many.
Yeah, y'all want to make sure that you're following the show so you don't miss those. And then later this year, at some point, probably late summer, we'll be covering the new season of Strange New Worlds.
Yes, I'm sure it'll come out around when it always has.
Yeah, and then next year we'll kind of do it again. We'll have a season of Academy and then a season of Strange New Worlds. So, and after that, who knows? But there's going to be plenty to talk about. We have like almost 1,000 episodes to do backtracking retrospectives on if we don't get any new material.
And Tex-Trek hasn't covered Scouts at all. So
we haven't even acknowledged Scouts. So,
Scouts, the second half, they switched from being the meteors to rescuing animals in a holodeck.
Oh.
It is so much better.
Yeah, Rock Talk would approve.
It's rescuing hollow animals.
I'm gonna see if I can get one of my nieces or nephew to watch Scouts, and we might bring them on the show to say their reactions. Or I don't know, I might or maybe I'll get some comments ahead of time. But that might I want to see that with the target audience with me, so we might do that. But yeah, there's definitely plenty to talk about. So we have a lot more planned for later this year. So please come back in 2 weeks, and until then, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Subscribe to YouTube to watch the Tex-Trek podcast live or listen to us later on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Stephen Fatheree on socials at TXTrek. Thank you and take care.